What is going on, YouTube? Coming back today, I know that my spotting on YouTube's been kind of up and down lately. I've done a few other videos on other channels and whatnot, just random college football, NBA, college hoops stuff. But I wanted to come back today, as I'm sure the reason a lot of people would have clicked on this, is the Chicago Bulls point guard situation, the trade rumors, Lonzo Ball trade rumors, all that fun stuff. I think it's a interesting situation, but at the same time, like, the rumors have continued to elevate and pick up, and there's a lot of pieces in place that make this not just like, discussion, debate, and ultimately speculation that might not happen. That there's like a realistic chance that there's material discussions between the Bulls and the Lakers front offices. So I think that a lot of people, including myself, would have had the initial impression that if Lonzo Ball does get traded, even like reports that came out before the deadline showed that he wanted probably to go to another big market, either the Bulls or the Knicks. I mean, outside of the Lakers, really, unless you want to include the Nets and the Clippers, which are just the second, tend to be the second most popular and storied franchises in the two biggest markets. Bulls and the Knicks make a ton of sense for Lonzo. Now, my initial idea here, and I think maybe throwing in one additional piece would make sense, but what was that, the Bulls give the Lakers their first-round pick this year, and then Kris Dunn, get the return of Lonzo Ball, because I think the Bulls or the Lakers tried to shop him anyway, and frankly, I just think his time in LA might be running out here very soon. The Lakers need to make the playoffs now, and he needs a good situation that he can develop around a young core that's going to be more welcoming for young talent to thrive than LA at the moment. I think there's just too much pressure in LA. I mean, you saw Brandon Ingram play better. Losing the name Kyle Kuzma shined a little bit in LeBron's absence. And just when there was less pressure in general, I think a lot of those guys started playing better. Now, the issue with the Kris Dunn trade deal at this point, if you guys don't know it, I can throw a few of my articles down below. I've started covering the Bulls for Fansided's fan site, Pippen Ain't Easy, and I did a couple mock-ups of trade packages that could make sense for both sides, but a lot of those were before the lottery. The Lakers got pretty lucky with the fourth overall pick. Bulls get kind of unlucky for the third straight year, landing the seventh overall pick, and that definitely changed the game a little bit now. I think a lot of fans still implied that Kris Dunn and the seventh overall pick would be enough to get Lonzo from the Lakers, because then the Lakers could maybe make a bigger push for Anthony Davis, or just adding more pieces in general, maybe Bradley Beal, Mike Conley, who knows. So mainly just help LeBron get into the playoffs in the next two seasons. So something came out from Casey Johnson, the Chicago Tribune, I believe it was either yesterday or today, saying that Kris Dunn's market value at this point is low to non-existent, which makes sense. I mean, he's by no means a good modern point guard. He's really only got a mid-range game. On offense, a few sporadic instances where he shot well from three. Once he started getting a little bit more aggressive, actually driving to the paint, but Garpax last offseason, heading into the 2018-19 regular season, was saying that he needed to improve those two areas. For Fred Hoiberg, and then the whole Jim Boylan coaching switch, it was all kind of a big mess for Kris Dunn for a while. And at this point, it just seems like his time in Chicago is pretty much up. That's in terms of the fit with the team, the atmosphere he's in, how he feels about the situation heading into the offseason. I think that it's probably just time for him to try somewhere else. Somewhere that has a better atmosphere almost for him to find his footing. I think that's just the last resort for him at this point. Now, the idea for the Lakers to get Lonzo Ball in, and I think this is where I can actually provide value in this video, is I think at this point the Bulls are going to have to throw in another piece that's going to help the Lakers rotation immediately. What that is, I don't know. Does that mean that the Bulls get a 3-team deal involved, that they have to send another young piece to another team to get something to the Lakers? That is an idea. What that is, I mean, it's a lot of speculation, but it seems like the Knicks and the Pelicans are constantly involved with Lakers trade rumors of late. Even the Grizzlies have gotten involved, really anyone in the lottery. But I think that an interesting piece to throw into the deal would probably be Denzel Valentine. I mean, it's Lonzo Ball. We're not talking like they're making a trade for LeBron James at this point, even though there was an interesting odds list that, and I'll probably do a video on this later, just more speculation, that like the Bulls had like the 5th best odds of starting out with LeBron James next regular season, or this coming regular season. If the Lakers did in fact do the crazy thing, they would be trading LeBron. But anyway, we're talking Lonzo Ball. We're not really talking LeBron James. So I think a piece like Denzel Valentine would be able to push it over the edge there and get enough for the Lakers to round out their rotation. You know, Kris Dunn can be a very good situational point guard off the bench. You know, he's one of the best point guard defenders in the league, and you know, if he's got a good set of players that, you know, he won't have to be the main source of offense. You know, he can find his spots, maybe a little bit more aggressive down low if there's more space, mid-range. It could be a good fit. And then Denzel Valentine's a very good floor spacer off the bench. He can shoot pretty well from 3. You know, he's pretty versatile. He can play at the 2 or the 3, depending on what you're running lineup-wise. And he still has some trade value, I would say. Chandler Hutchison's a player that they could throw in. I think those, as far as like core pieces go, that aren't Lowry, Markkanen, Zach LaVine, Wendell Carter Jr., that the Bulls don't really want to give up, or, you know, pieces that just aren't going to have an immediate impact, like a future first or second round pick. I think that those two are probably going to be the most valuable to the Lakers. Now, what does Lonzo Ball bring in return for the Bulls? Now, obviously Lonzo, much like Kris Dunn, good defensive point guard. I don't think they're really on the same playing field there, but Lonzo Ball, much better facilitator. Actually, I think Kris Dunn is a better three-point shooter statistically. But Lonzo Ball also runs a lot better in transition, is a lot better at driving to the bucket. He's a little bit more athletic. I mean, I don't think the Bulls need Lonzo to develop a three-point game. It seems like it's been a really long time since the Bulls had a point guard that could shoot threes. So that would be a limitation. But I think bringing one more player that can stretch the floor for the Bulls, you know, if they land someone like Kobe White in the draft, that would change the game. Obviously, if they landed Kobe White, they probably wouldn't have Lonzo Ball. But essentially what I'm saying is you get a point guard or just a guard in general that can help space the floor a little bit more. You want to run a small ball lineup, Lowry at the 5. You also have LaVine, Ball, and one more piece that maybe isn't as ball dominant, but can help space the floor a little bit more. Then, I mean, I think that's intriguing. It just adds more variation to the Bulls rotation too, and fits a little bit more of the modern NBA that Jim Boylan seems so insistent on getting away from. Obviously, anytime you have two big franchises like the Lakers and the Bulls getting involved in trade rumors like this, with a player that just can't stay out of headlines and off the trade rumors in terms of the media, there hasn't been much material speculation that's emerged that he was in any trade framework. But Kris Dunn, kind of a polarizing figure for the fact that he hasn't done much in the NBA, and then Lonzo Ball. I mean, one of the most discussed young players in the NBA. I do think it's a good deal for both sides. If something can come about, I think it's still beneficial for the Bulls, even if they have to throw in a player like Denzel or Chandler Hutchison. I think they'd be more willing to throw in Denzel just because of the fact that he hasn't played that much. But maybe fresh start, chance of contending immediately for Denzel would, get him out of the injury mode. I don't really know what's been going on with him, but and get him more into a ready-to-play scheme. Or the Lakers ship off the 7th overall pick to a team like the Pelicans or the Wizards or someone like that to get Bradley Beal, Anthony Davis, whoever it be, that will help, get them into the playoffs get them to the Lakers. So that's pretty much it for this video. Again, I do want to discuss a little bit more since this is rumor season, draft season. I know a couple years back, it's one of my favorite things to discuss just because there is so much that's going to happen this offseason. It's a big time for free agency. Anthony Davis probably will end up out of New Orleans, and there's so many big markets involved that could completely turn over the NBA. So anyway, that's pretty much it. See ya.